everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Megan.
Hello again.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Happy
Yes.
Monday. And I don't think we actually officially acknowledged this, but it is 2025 now.
Yes, we did
Right.
on mine because it was New Year's.
Okay.
New Year's
I must
Day
have
Actually
was
had
the
two
first
in the new
black-
year. So
okay,
this
then
is like the third.
I blocked that out. So I'm only now
But it
coming to
takes-
terms with it.
I mean, we're already 2024 for at least a few weeks into the new year. So
Hey, I'm not even lying. I actually wrote 2023 recently, and I had to think, I'm like, wait, is it? No, it's not.
I've done that before. I've tried to already go to 2025. I've written 2023. I think recently I did something like that with you guys where I was just like completely wrong on the year. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Where are we?
As I always say,
it's actually
time is not
Wednesday,
real.
January 15th today.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's actually my dad's birthday. So happy
Do your
birthday, Dad.
parents stop having birthdays?
Happy
I
birthday,
know.
Lindsay's
Actually, to be
dad.
fair, the last episode it was not my mom's birthday, just the event.
But we talked about it. I think.
happened
yeah.
on her
Yeah.
birthday.
The event.
I didn't even
Yes.
say it, but the day after yours, Lindsay, is my dad's birthday, and he'll never listen to this, so he'll never hear. But
I know my dad
love
won't
you.
hear this birthday wish either.
Happy birthday 10 days ago. Am I okay?
Belated. No, none of us were okay.
Happy birthday,
And it'd
fathers.
only be 5 days ago from this release date because
Yeah.
the 15th minus 5 is 10.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
my
that's-
papa's birthday. Yeah.
It's actually almost my grandma's birthday from this episode too, and
my
she's
God.
95.
I'm sure.
Oh my
I'm sure
God.
everyone 95.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that's actually. I was gonna say like people don't really care about birthdays for in terms of
That
us,
one.
but that one I'm interested.
95
in
is
that
a big one. Yeah. I'm like,
95 is
Yeah.
Grandma,
a
only
huge one.
5 more till you get to 100. She's like, she's already over.
Hold
she's
on.
she's so
Overliving?
morbid. Like she makes the joke because she lives across the street from a funeral home that she's just gonna walk over one of these days and
Sorry,
call
Scott.
Just like I'm
That's
That's
done.
actually super funny.
yeah. So she is like, she's good about that.
I feel like
It's
you
funny
have to.
because,
Like, what are you
like,
supposed to do?
Do you
Right.
know what though? You get to a certain age, and I think you just start accepting that fact because I mean, my mom's nowhere near 95, and like she still is very accepting of the fact of like it's like one of those like, well, when I die, I'm like, Mom, stop. That depresses me.
Yeah.
Stop. Like,
You
That
are not
is so your mom.
close
Like
to
that.
death.
That
Just
sounds
stop.
exactly like how your mom is. That's just
yeah,
just practical
mom's
about
already
it.
paid.
Like,
My mom's already paid for everything. So like she was like, well, I don't want you guys to have any debt over this. So she's like, pay for everything involving the funeral. She's like, if I could pay for the party already, I would. She was
Wait,
like, but
question. So is she going to be made into a tree or shot into space or
well, she's just getting cremated and the ashes are getting entombed near her father and mother. But like, I mean, I already told her that I'm taking some of the ashes and doing stuff
Obviously.
with it. So she was
You
like,
know-
I'm dead. What do I care? I was like,
I
perfect.
don't know. I don't know how many grams of ashes you need to make a diamond, but like
That's
there's a
what's
lot
happening.
of there's a lot of things you could do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, so this is the perfect segue. I'm just kidding. It has nothing to do with it. We're gonna jump in to our.
We're murdering.
Wait, no, it's not murder if they die on their own and then you just turn them to diamonds.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's a
you're
heist movie I'd watch, by the way.
paranormal is your topic, so I'm assuming it must have something to do with death.
So,
So-
yeah,
I
so
could just imagine that heist movie now where they're like breaking into graves to steal the ashes to turn them into diamonds.
wait, hold on.
So
And
much
it's
effort. You might as
it's
well just
called-
steal a diamond.
Guys, it's called The Family Jewels.
Ah, yeah,
Family
love
gets
it.
made into jewels.
Yeah.
TM,
yeah,
TM,
okay.
TM.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah.
Hollywood.
Hollywood, call us. James.
Why? Or it could be called Death Diamonds.
Oh, that sounds cool
that's-
too.
Yeah.
We could play
Mhm.
with it.
I like this.
Family
yeah.
death diamonds. There's something here.
Mhm,
There's something here. James would not touch the 10-foot pole. It doesn't involve water. He's not interested. So yeah, the title does say paranormal. But really it's kind of like an open umbrella. There's a couple different topics I'm going to cover. They're all kind of like shallow dives, which again, we love the
Okay. Love it.
puns on water. So
What?
I have 4 short stories for you. And if you've listened to our last 2 episodes, then, you know, you kind of are set in the scene already. And we may have talked about a few of these. With Lindsay's case, we definitely did. But hopefully it's like new and interesting. And
Mhm.
if you want
And
to
you're
know more,
not over us yet.
no. If you want to know more about Lake Superior or about the Great Lakes, I think we have content planned down the road. So just let us know.
That's right. There's what,
So-
like 500 shipwrecks that we can investigate?
I
in
think I
one
read
single lake.
I think I read somewhere it was either 350 or 450 or somewhere like that in Lake
Well, I
Superior.
told you
Yeah, I
that
bet
it was.
Right. Chantal, that's what
Well,
I was
actually.
thinking Chantal could confirm.
So there's 500 suspected, but 350 known.
See, I listened.
That's what it is. I listened too, but then I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And then my brain just like etch a sketch.
Farts out that information.
Exactly. And I read it knowing that you talked about it, but I'm like, wow, that
Yeah.
was a lot.
Yeah.
Anywho, let me get
Anyways,
into
for those that don't remember 2 weeks ago, like Megan, that's how many there are.
hasn't even been 2 weeks for me in real time, so I'm embarrassed. So story one, we're going to be talking about the SS Bannockburn or Bannockburn. What would you say?
I would said Bannockburn, so
Bannockburn?
when you
I
said
think
it
I
the
would've
other
said
way, I was
Bannock.
like,
Okay, no, you're
Bannock.
so you're
Bannock
definitely wrong because Bannock
Yeah.
is a kind of bread that's like famous in Canada, although I've
with
never had
double
it.
O's? Nuke?
no, it's
Oh, maybe I spelled no,
C.
just one O.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
OCK.
C. Oh, I'm looking
Yeah.
at the boat. Okay, and it looks like an O. Never mind. I take that back.
Good.
I was gonna say Chantal. I was not expecting that, but
Okay,
knowing
Lindsay,
that
what did you say? Would you say
Bannockburn is what I would have
Bannockburn?
thought
Okay.
called
Yeah.
it.
We're gonna stick with Bannockburn.
Bannock.
Now, this ship has the title of the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes.
Oh, very
And I know
cool.
we've heard that term mostly from me.
From
It's from Pirates of the
Chantal's-
Caribbean.
What? Oh,
No, that's because they have the Flying Dutchman ship.
yeah, but
It's-
wasn't the
I mean,
paranormal
more famous from
stories
Pirates, but-
North Brunswick episode, something like that? Didn't you have a story?
Fire ship.
Okay.
Very different.
very different.
Mhm.
I know I'm
It was
talking
it was
about.
floating and it was on fire.
Ignore me.
So the Flying Dutchman isn't an actual ship per se. There's a whole Wikipedia page all about it, but it means like just a kind of a ghost ship, like a general kind of creepy ghost ship that kind of flies in, flies out, and people sometimes can see it. They can hear people shouting from it. They can see people on it, but it's just meant to kind of mean like, it's famous during like the West Indies like triangle trade, and this is just of the Great Lakes. So the Bannockburn Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. So the first two photos are this boat or ship. Is boat like not cool to say if it's really
No,
big?
boat's like small. Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
is
ship.
this
Yeah.
is a ship.
I'm gonna give ship
So the
title
first
here.
photo is
Mhm.
at the dock, and the second photo is in the water, and like that looks terrifying, and it looks so small in the water.
Is it actually
Yeah.
that black, like as the first photo, or is that just like this the way this?
Well, I mean,
Angle is
obviously it's
getting
black
it.
and white, but I imagine that it's probably a black
It-
color, and
Yeah.
because of the shadow, it looks extra dark on the front. Because you can see in the bottom photo, it looks kind of light where the light's hitting it.
Yeah.
I don't have any color photos because this is an incredibly old ship. So let me tell you a little bit about it. The SS Bannockburn was a Canadian steel-hulled freighter that disappeared on Lake Superior in a stormy, snowy weather on November 21st, 1902, which is quite some time ago.
Right.
Earlier
Wait,
in
did you say
and
November?
November.
Yes.
I mean, of
November,
course, it was
November.
Of course.
I mean, like it's never like, June.
No.
Never. It's always
Yeah.
like
On a
Those squalls aren't
beautiful
coming along in June.
June morning on Lake Superior.
And I know that obviously, hurricanes affect different areas of the world. That's more in the fall, but still
There's also
like,
the ocean.
well, yeah, yes, I know. I said different areas, so that was implied. But this lake is so huge. So I guess maybe winter winds must be a
Yeah.
huge part of it.
And we know the waves can reach like ocean
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
So
height.
From wind alone.
the
That's
waves come
crazy.
into a few of these little tails too, which
Ooh.
you know they're big waves, but when you can see what they do, it's just insane. So earlier in the day, around noon, the captain of a passing vessel, the SS Algonquin, had seen the ship several times over the course of a few minutes. When he suddenly lost sight of her, he just assumed it was due to cloudy weather, as you would. So the Bannockburn had technically sunk once before on the morning of October 15th, 1897. So it's not weather related though. She was laden with grain from Chicago.
Chicago.
And it was bound for Kingston, Ontario, which Kingston is so cute. And they have that awesome prison. Not awesome
them.
prison. That was insensitive. You know what I mean? A very old historical prison. And it's haunted. Anyway, I'll put the shovel down because I just keep digging a hole. While en route, she hit a wall in a canal and sprung a leak, taking on 9 feet or 2.7 meters of water. I mean, it says soon she was raised. Like, I don't know if it was like, I'm sure it wasn't the next day, but essentially
Mhm.
she was raised. The water was removed. She was repaired. There were no injuries or no deaths. So now back to
Wow.
November
An
Okay.
uneventful
21st.
sinking.
It almost was like it just slowly like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And then they were like, just kidding.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you have to get back to
take
work.
our bucket here, and there you go.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how long that would take? Because like it's 9 feet of water across
In the whole
this
boat,
massive
yeah.
ship.
Yeah, for sure. They must
So
have had some
back-
kind of pump to like
Oh,
Get a
sorry.
lot of mop buckets.
That would take fucking
a
forever.
really big straw.
So back to November. Now at around 11 p.m. that night, a very powerful winter storm was raging, and the night watch crew of a passenger steamer called the Huronic reported seeing lights on a ship that they passed in the storm, and they believed it was the same light pattern of the Bannockburn. Now there was no signals of distress. No kind of panic was observed, and obviously they're not like close per se, but everything looked fine, and the two ships just passed each other in the night without incident. So, of course, you'll never know for sure if that was the Bannockburn because, this is 1897. So they just thought it
Mhm.
was based on the pattern of lights. The next day, the Bannockburn was overdue for their arrival time. And we've covered that kind of thing before where people just think, oh, well, it was bad weather. So that's why weather late. No problem. Let's just not do anything about it. The delay didn't seem unusual. No alarms were raised. But after several days missing, the fear grew. That something terrible had happened, which
In
again-
several days, come on, like
so
several
45 is
hours
like,
late.
God, man, they're
Sure.
really late. Like we know it's a big lake, but I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Remember Lindsay's story? What was it? The SS Indy where they just
Yes.
like
Right.
didn't mark it on the whiteboard? Like,
yeah,
or, sorry,
they
the
were. I
chalkboard.
forget what their whole tactic
It
was, but it's
it
like
was just so secret that no one even knew what they were carrying. So people were like, oh well, I guess it's
well,
wartime.
they were supposed
Like
to alert people, I think, when ships arrived, but nothing to alert if ships didn't arrive or something. It was something
Yeah.
silly like that. Like,
but that's just like the same difference. Like ships didn't arrive, and that's also a problem anyway.
right, but
Mhm.
someone took it really literally. Like, oh well, I only had to report ships arrive, so that's
It was
what
just-
I
it was his
did,
first day on
and
the
it
job.
didn't.
Oh.
So yeah,
The first day on the job.
First day. Oh boy, I'm
Oh.
sure glad to be helping the war
yeah.
effort.
Meanwhile, 900 men are like, I'm
Woohoo.
stuck in the middle of the ocean now. Can anyone
And have a
If
big
you
fear
haven't
of sharks.
listened to that episode, I can't tell you
Go.
the number, but it's called the USS Indy, or I think it's the full
Mhm.
name, Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And holy hell, if you know the monologue from Jaws when they're on the boat and they're talking about the sharks, well, it's that story, and it's so much
It's
crazier.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was crazy.
So on November 25th, a pass through. Let me start again. On November
Ooh.
25th, a ship passed through a field of floating debris near Standard Rock Lighthouse. It's called
Oh.
Standard Rock Light, but like it is a lighthouse. So you want to say
Yeah.
like lighthouse. And I will talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
So this may have been the Bannockburn, but since the ship had not been reported as lost, no action was taken. So the ship that drove through had no idea what it was because they weren't told to look out for a ship that was missing or
right.
could have potentially hit something or was sunk. So they just headed on through. The oldest person on this sport. Let me just.
Just drink it.
Have
Drink
some
it up.
wine.
Yeah, drink it.
Relax.
Did you see her Arby's glass?
Oh,
No.
okay. I got this.
I thought
at
it was
the thrift store.
Oh yeah, it looked really cute.
So I got 4 of these or 6 of these and 2 other glasses. So I thought, oh, what a cute, like kind of like grandma chic pattern. And then one of Steph's friends looked closely and it says, Arby's copyright 1987 Christmas collection.
Oh my gosh, it's as old
It's-
as
yeah.
you.
This is literally my birthday glass
That's
from when I was
your
born.
That's
Yeah.
your baby's first wine glass now.
Yeah. Yep. It all adds up.
It's
It
all
all
about
adds up.
marketing, you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even know where I was in here.
Something about the standard
Oh, here we go,
lighthouse
here we go.
and the people things
Yeah,
happening.
yes. No, you're right. The oldest person aboard was Captain Wood from Port Dalhousie, Ontario, aged 37, which is our age. He was the oldest person.
oldest? Damn.
Wow.
Most of the crew was between the ages of 17 and
so
20.
he was very young then.
He was very young, but he
was
was
a baby. Just
He was
a
only
literal
twice as old as
baby.
the other people. Like
That's crazy.
One
They're
of the
really,
ships-
really young crew on
extremely
here.
young.
Mhm.
One of the ship's
Mhm.
two wheelsmen, Arthur Callaghan, was 16.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
On
Oh.
Friday, December 12th.
Oh.
Sounds familiar. Sounds
I mean, it's in
familiar.
a
That's a
really,
date.
really sad context, but
Okay.
a
Perfect.
cork life preserver from the Bannockburn washed up on a beach.
Oh.
This is the only known item from the wreckage of the ship to ever have been recovered.
Damn.
Wow.
So the ship has never been found.
Hmm.
Everyone aboard perished.
Mm.
There are some rumors that, because I think Chantal, you talked about there was tons of like little islands kind of off the coast within Lake Superior, and like oh maybe he got stuck on one of those little tiny islands. I mean, there's no evidence of that. The SS Bannockburn has been seen on Lake Superior dozens of times over the years by passing ships in the night through heavy and thick fog, and the ship is seen as an omen to warn of bad weather or shallow waters.
That was what the fire ship
Wow.
was an omen of bad weather as well.
Yeah, if I
So
see a ship on fire, I'm not thinking like,
Yeah.
good.
if I see a ghost ship, I'm not thinking
Yeah,
good
I
things are
can't
coming
think of
either.
any case where it was good.
Like,
Thinking back to
oh,
Halifax
I saw a
explosion
ship on fire.
too.
Oh, great.
Didn't we say something about make a wish on the ghost ship? Or
I think we
something?
did.
Yeah. On the fire ship, yeah.
I mean, we're not really that insensitive. It's just sometimes we are.
Yeah.
There actually is
Yeah.
a fire ship here in Chicago that will take you out to watch the fireworks and stuff.
Different
But
kind of
Oh,
fire ship.
Not on
different-
fire. It
different
is a fire
context.
ship. It is
You
a
were not
fire
on
ship.
fire.
No, no, no.
You have to be lit on fire in order to get onto the ship.
That's
Yeah.
the price you pay for the best view.
You know
So
what?
That's
Yeah.
right.
we're going to move on now to story 2. And this word is so
Ooh.
hard. It's like, it's not standard. It's like standard.
Standard.
Standard rock light.
The
Lighthouse.
loneliest lighthouse in the world.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
So I have a
'cause
few
talked
photos of
about it.
this.
It looks
And
very lonely.
It does. And I mean,
Just a lonely
even though you know
place.
it's a lake, I mean, even here on Lake Ontario, you look in a certain direction, you can't see anything. We talked about how big Lake Superior is. So this, I'm gonna go into it, but it literally is one of the most isolated lighthouses, aside from maybe the one I talked about, the smallest lighthouse in episode 5.
Right. I was thinking about that one. I'm like, that looks
Just-
pretty lonely too.
Go easy.
Yeah.
You're 5 episodes in. So, but it's
Did you
not-
see the
it's
job
not
That was
hosting
a, that was a
thing?
short episode.
I know.
I sent to our chat about a job available in a lighthouse.
Oh yes,
Megan,
yes.
What are you trying to say?
yeah.
I'm not
I'm
that
not
desperate.
saying, yeah, no, I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you would, in theory, love to. But I just thought it was cool.
And also, too, I mean, I know that the weather is kind of scary when you're by yourself, but, like maybe you have a little fireplace and a couple books. Like, that kind of sounds
Maybe you have a
cozy.
husband with you.
Right.
Well, now this...
I would do it for like, a week or something. Be all cozy.
Yeah.
I think that we were reading that the standard lighthouse you can go stay at. I'm pretty sure I
No.
read that.
Not this one. You can see it.
That's the one
But-
I sent you, I think, the other
Was it the
lighthouse.
Airbnb one? Oh,
There's one
Yeah,
that I
it's
saw...
currently...
I don't know if this is the same one, but there's one that I saw where someone purchased it from auction, and it's still a functional lighthouse, but they
Mhm.
like redid the inside, and they lived there for a bit, but now it's an Airbnb. Maybe there's multiple
Oh,
like lighthouse.
knows?
Either way,
Probably.
we're gonna
Either
go
way.
to one.
Yeah.
Hashtag girls trip.
we're gonna swim to this one.
You physically can't.
Was it like 35 miles or something from land?
I'm gonna get into it right now. This lighthouse is located on a reef off of the Keweenaw
Sounds good.
Peninsula,
Okay.
about 24 miles or 39 kilometers from Manitou Island, land, aka land, and 44 miles or 71 kilometers north of Marquette, Michigan. That's
Mhm.
pretty freaking far. Now,
Yeah.
you can, as just like, humans, get on a boat and go drive past and see it. So, like, it's not, impossible to reach. But I mean, it's not swimmable. Sorry, Chantel. Maybe on a kayak, if you had like an avocado, good protein for breakfast, maybe you could. But just in case, let's
As long
not.
as I avoid whatever reef it's trying to make me not hit,
So
right?
it says here, due to this reef, this is the most serious hazard to navigation on Lake Superior, especially in this area. We're gonna have a
Yeah.
lot of like
the lighthouse
overlapping here.
itself is the tricky thing
No,
to navigate
the
around.
reef.
There's
reef
a
that it's on.
there's a
Okay.
massive.
I was gonna say, that
reef.
kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
lighthouse.
Come on over
We
here.
put this thing here so you could avoid it.
I'm actually just Google mapping it because I want to see exactly where it is.
like it doesn't look like it'd be that far out when you put it in context of how far you can actually see across the lake. Like, yeah, you can't see land from
Right.
it, which is like such a horrifying thing to think of. So due to its distance from land, it is the most distance from shore lighthouse in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And hence the Chantel said it earlier. It's mentioned. It's called the loneliest place in the world. Not
It's
even
the
lighthouse, just the loneliest place.
loneliest place? Oh, I always read it as the loneliest lighthouse in the world.
I
Maybe
feel like it's interchangeable.
it's probably all.
Yeah.
Like
It's lonely.
it all
We'll
makes
we'll let it
sense
have
in
the
this.
title, either title.
Yeah.
You can have both titles.
Yes.
In 1962, it switched to automation, and it is maintained by the U.S. Coast Guard. It's not abandoned, as some sources I've seen online say that, oh, God, it's been totally... No, it's not abandoned. It is
No.
maintained by the government. While closed to the public, you can view it by boat, but you cannot get on the lighthouse. I was going to say land. It's not really land. You cannot climb onto the lighthouse. P.S. Construction of this began in July 1877 and was completed with its first light exhibition on July 4th, 1882, but it wasn't completely done until 1883. So it didn't take super long to build. And so obviously July 4th, they're like, oh my gosh, look at this freaking lighthouse. And then they probably were still like putting up shingles and stuff, and they kept working for a bit.
They're like, we want to have it ready for July 4th, but
Well, exactly. And we all know that. You want to like push the project so it comes out in like a big like celebratory time. So
Yeah.
these two photos show it in winter. The black and white photo, like, it's just insane.
Oh my
So
God.
I don't have an exact date of this, but that is a giant like iceberg that kind of formed with waves crashing and just building up.
Oh,
And I'm sure that
yeah.
there are big ice floes in the lake during winter, but this, water keeps adding to it. It grows and grows and grows, and as it gets a little bit warmer, lower
and
parts
just to
break
confirm,
off.
maybe did you say it's there because of all the rocks in the area to keep?
Yeah, so
ship-
because of the
okay.
huge reef, that's exactly
Yeah,
why it's
okay,
placed where it
okay.
is. So
Yeah, because it's a huge reef, like randomly
Right,
in
you
the
don't
middle of this
want
huge area, and the
people
water, like
don't go
they
straight.
would not see. It's like, hey, we have this huge reef in the middle of this lake. Let's make them avoid it. Like
The
basically,
winter picture of this lighthouse, it's like I don't know, like Edgar Allan Poe style, and it looks like there's like
it's so
Yeah,
creepy. I love
it's
it.
like the
And if you
lighthouse.
want to go to the next photo, this is what the lighthouse looks like in winter.
wait, which one now? Because you,
oh my goodness, like the completely covered in ice photo.
Yeah, there's one
Yeah, okay.
where you can tell it's
it looks like a
just...
garage has
Right.
been
Like you wouldn't be able to
just-
get in and out. In
Funny you
winter.
should mention that. So let me say a little bit more. The lighthouse was built to have only one lighthouse keeper on duty,
My
and therefore it was
God.
called a stag station, like going stag, going solo.
Mhm.
So I have read that there are multiple people there at times for repairs or what have you. And there's one instance I talk about where there happened to be 4 people, but normally it's built for 1. Hence, again,
Damn.
loneliest place.
Yeah, I didn't know that part of it.
It was reported by a maritime historian that the duty was so rough on the lighthouse keeper, like whoever was there at the time, that there were 4 resignations and 3 transfers in the first 3 seasons of the station's operation.
Wow.
So we talk
So
about,
in
oh,
9
would that
months.
be great?
In 9 months, there
No,
was
seasons. I would imagine it means like, because it's only open for part of the year. So I imagine the
Right.
first 3
Oh.
years.
okay.
But it means still, that means that someone came in to start like, I'd say March or April. And
Yeah.
by the end of their season, they had already asked to be transferred.
I don't blame
So,
them.
like,
If I was going to work a lighthouse, I want to be one that's on the shore, so my friends could come
100%.
over. Or like,
And you have like your dog with you and you're looking at the
Right.
sunset. This would just be
Exactly.
bleak. And then what I get into again, but if things, go awry, there's no one coming to get you.
Well, yeah, because I told you guys about the explosion with that melted the limestone on it. Like this was not a good place to stay.
No. And was that this lighthouse?
Girl, I covered this lighthouse.
Okay.
but now we get the
talking.
winter version.
But you've
of
gone
it.
more in depth in it.
Yeah.
You've gone more in depth into
Because there's
it.
because again, listen, I'm tired, and we talk about this, and then our brain filters, and then we go on to the next topic. So if you've heard this again, thank you for sticking with us. I'm so sorry.
Listen, she's given way more in-depth information, but
And there's
yeah,
also
no, that
more
yes.
stuff. There's more
That's
stuff.
why I knew that it was the loneliest lighthouse in the world.
Yes, loneliest place, even
Place.
worse.
Yeah, even more.
So in wintertime, waves are splashing against the stone tower of this lighthouse, and it built a thick layer of ice that forced maintenance crews to hack away the ice to open the door to reach the lightkeeper
Damn.
inside. So he was effectively
Oh my
trapped.
God.
So I
No
mean,
thanks.
that sucks. So I think I'm out. We almost talked ourselves into going, and now I'm
Maybe not this one.
maybe not this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
We'll
that
find a
Maybe
better
the one
one.
that Lindsay sent.
Yes, yes. Or even the haunted one in Florida. Florida can be,
Let's do it.
beach.
Florida sounds more, although hurricanes, we'll just have to find one in Nova Scotia at some point. We can all live in
Hurricanes,
together.
not as bad.
Yeah, but
not nearly as
we
bad.
still do get them, but yeah, not as bad.
They're called tropical storms by that point, which is
Mm.
later.
Unless
so
you're
this
Juan,
lighthouse,
then you're-
Oh, got a
Oh, hello.
angry engine up
someone
there.
has a small penis. They want everyone to know. Just P.S. Whenever someone revs the engine, that's what women are thinking. FYI.
Yeah, we're making
No
that
one's
joke.
like, ooh, like
No one's
Fast and
impressed.
Okay,
Furious
no.
is different.
Okay, that's 90% of women are making that joke.
Oh,
or
if
people.
you're at a car show,
I'm sure
different.
some women are impressed by cars, so they're probably
Yes,
out there.
yes.
We
There
are
are.
just
there
not
has
them,
to
for
be
sure.
because otherwise, why would men do it? So it must
I'm
work
more of
sometimes.
like, oh, you just have a car. That's great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a job.
and it's
I
economical.
am jealous of any car.
Heated
Okay.
seats. Whoa. Okay. Fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
heated seat. Damien really wants to get a car that has a heated steering wheel. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
we're
Really?
fine. No, like
Well,
come
no,
on,
no, I
crazy.
do.
Like
I
I don't
do.
want my hands getting like really hot while I'm
I
driving.
just
No, but in the
deal.
wintertime, it's great, okay? Because you
Mm.
get into the car, because sometimes we get Caminados that
Right.
have it. It has the heated seats and the heated steering wheel.
That's
and
fair.
like you just get in and you turn it on. I'm like, oh, I can feel my fingertips again.
It's how
'Cause I
the
don't like
1%
driving
live.
with driving with gloves on. I don't know. It makes
Yeah.
me feel like I'm not as in control. So
No, you're
Well,
not.
you're not as
You're
in
literally
control.
not.
Yeah.
So you're right.
The
for
mittens are
thinking that.
driving. You're just there.
Yeah.
I just hold on with my clammy,
gloves are
freezing hands.
Yeah.
To be trying to help them, but the gloves are driving.
Because we live in a city, I don't even have a car right now, so we just Uber. So anytime I get in a car, it's already warm. So that's the one benefit.
Yeah,
I guess,
that's
of not
fair.
Actually,
That's
having
fair.
a car.
I kind of like when it's cold, but you guys know I run hot, so I'm like, normal.
Yeah, Chantal will keep the heat. You can have your
You
ice
guys can
cold.
keep in.
In fact, I need a car
lighthouses
that
and
has
cars.
like my half of the car heat and then Vadim's half of the car heat.
'Cause he
so that I
runs-
can be warm.
he
'cause
runs
also
warmer,
runs
too.
hot. Yeah. He's like a roll the windows down in the winter type of guy. I'm like, you're insane.
Welcome.
Why do people
Yeah.
who have opposite feelings of like you and Damien, right?
I know,
Megan?
Damien's,
And me
like,
and Eric
bundled
are the
up.
opposite.
Yeah.
It's love,
Yes.
baby.
Yeah,
I don't
right?
Okay, back to this awesome lighthouse that's not at all scary.
Yes.
So the standard lighthouse is so isolate that if an illness, accident, or fire occurred, foreshadowing, it could be days or even weeks before the keepers got assistance. And we talked about the guy that was literally locked in by a sheet of ice. Like, imagine you're like, wow, that storm's pretty bad. And you go outside
And
and
he
check
resigned the
literally-
next day, I
Yeah,
assume.
he's definitely one of the transfers.
Did you see how they get food there? Like, do they just bring enough for the season, or
I'm assuming
is it
it's
people dropping it
partly-
off?
I'm sure when
I
they
mean,
get dropped
you
off,
could
they probably have
freeze
a food
everything.
supply.
Yeah, right. Your fridge is outside.
Yeah, I don't think the freezing part's the problem.
Right.
So they probably come with a lot of stuff, and then I would imagine that they get periodically checked on. Like if you remember the other lighthouse I covered way back
They
when,
must have
people
some
would-
like a generator or something.
Oh
right?
yeah, and that's part of one
Coming
of the
up.
bad things that happens. Yep.
Perfect.
So bless you. So the lightkeeper would remain on duty until the end of shipping season, which would be early December. So you had a whole month of just craziness because, as we know, November is terrible. And then you get chipped out of your ice cave, and then you would go home. When they
And
return in
enjoy
March,
Christmas with your family.
yeah, just in time. When they would come back in March, the keeper and a small team would need to take sledgehammers and pickaxes to clear away the thick layers of ice that would be about 1 to 2 feet or 1/3
gosh.
to 2/3 meter deep on the entry level door, lanterns, and foghorns.
Damn.
That's just so it's like your first day to work, and like you have to do all that just to get in.
Just to start your day.
Like, damn, that sucks.
Like I'm
Yeah.
already exhausted from the
I
job within
know.
2 hours of starting. Like I'm
yeah.
good.
Cleaning off your car of snow is like, all right, I won't complain about that anymore.
This feels like it's slightly worse than cleaning off your car.
Oh, that's what this reminds me of. You know how sometimes you see those things where it's like people have their cars parked and it was near the ocean, but then the ice
Yeah,
and like ices them
Mhm.
over.
And all the
That's what
icicles
this
are
looks
going like sideways because
yeah,
of like wind.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's actually a great representation. Which even here by the lake that happens. So this is what Chantel had told us, which I completely forgot because this was like new information to me. Many years later, on June 18th, 1961, and this is again after it's been, oh, no, this is the year before it got automated. So it's still just, propane and gasoline, as we'll find out. An explosion of all of the gas and propane tanks that were used to fuel the station destroyed the buildings on the pier and severely damaged the interior of the tower. This explosion killed William Maxwell, who was the keeper, and left 3 others stranded on the concrete pier at the base of the tower for 3 days. It wasn't until a ship passing by saw them and notified the Coast Guard. The explosion sent flames shooting through the stairwells, blowing out television and a refrigerator out of a galley window, and then clearly it knocked out all the communications, and it also severely injured one of the station keepers with wooden shrapnel.
And how many days again were they?
3.
waiting? I feel like I if I'm on the middle of the lake, you better be checking on me every day, and if I don't respond, you better be sending help.
Well, so if this would happen today, which again, it's not banned anymore, but I would like text you every morning, like, girl, you good?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Are
If
you
I don't
doing all-
respond,
Are you doing all of your
within-
puzzles? Keep that brain sharp.
Yeah.
So many puzzles.
So now it is, like I said, automated. The Coast Guard does check in on it periodically. And there's some more photos. So I'm going to give Lindsay a link that we'll post. And it's like a video game, like post-apocalyptic, terrifying, so scary. It's still a functional lighthouse, but because there's no people that need to be on it, there's no comforts. It's just like this terribly blown up, scary. It's bad, but it's cool that it's scary. So we'll give you the link and you guys can go check that out.
Okay, I need this link so I can go check that out.
It's creepy. And
I
like,
did
there's-
not look that far into this.
And there's
so.
people being like helicoptered in, people on boats. The Coast Guard is all super intense and it looks very cool.
Amazing.
Story number 3. Now this is kind of, to me, kind of like Chantel coded because it's kind of like mermaid lore. Like gave me, it reminded me when you were giving us that amazing story, episode 9.
Okay.
By the way, I'm pretty sure it was 9.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was
And
on
also-
the 3, so
Yeah, God, I'm trying to think. And
it was 9 or
one-
12, one or the other.
Oh my God, that actually makes sense. And I never clicked in until right now.
Well, now we're screwed up. From
I
the
know, because of
episode,
Christmas.
but yeah.
Well, I'll just think of like my new number and then it'll make sense.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? You had a bunch of his art for one of your creepy Japanese mermaids, Vincent something art. So I have 3 photos for you, and the third one reminds me of his style. So look at the first 2 though. So this is the story of the mythical Great Lynx or underwater panther of the Ojibwe people called Mishi Pishu.
Oh.
Mythical Great Lynx, aka underwater panther.
So is this like their version of a Loch Ness monster? But
sort of. So the first 2 photos are, in indigenous art. One is actually found on a rock, which I think is just so freaking cool.
that's
And the
really
fact that
cool.
it's so well preserved, it's very pigmented still. The first one looks like it was woven onto a basket. And the picture just, it looks like when a little kid draws like a cow, like how nothing quite looks right, but you can tell it's supposed to be an animal.
Yeah,
It's
you know what
just
it is.
Yeah, well, you don't, but you're like, it's an animal.
Yeah.
Well, right.
I mean, it's very, very cute. And especially when you, I'll tell you what this animal is supposed to be
Like
look like.
if I were looking at the cave, the rock, drawing on the rock, I'd be like, all right, there's a canoe, maybe with people on it, and then there's
Yep.
like a dragon thing, and then there's some snakes.
Right? Are those snakes?
Yeah.
Or like they're-
eels. Yeah.
Or maybe it's meant
Eels.
to represent water, like the waves of water.
oh.
I'm not sure, but
Okay,
glance
that
at
could be
those
fair
while I tell
too.
you that the Mishipishu is one of the most important mythical water beings among many indigenous peoples of the northeastern woodlands, aka the Great Lakes region. It has, this is so wild, it has the head and paws of a giant cat, but it is covered in scales and has dagger-like spikes running along its back and tail. And the third
Dagger-like spikes.
and the third photo is a more like modern rendition.
So it's a
Third photo
catfish.
is
Oh,
so
this
cool.
does look like his. When he
Right?
did the
That is very similar.
Mignon. Mignon is what-
Which
something
if it
like that,
if
is
it
that-
washed up dead, it meant you're gonna have a bad day. But if I forget,
Yes. Yeah. No, one was war and calamity, and the other one was like bad weather or something like that.
like just
Yeah,
but,
nothing
but
good.
but you had no control on either of them. It's like,
no,
so what?
no. Yeah.
So we obviously, as we always do, we're gonna post all these photos. But this is the coolest thing, and I found
Yeah,
this
it is.
photo. I'm gonna have it
Bless
all
you.
linked. But this photo was used in almost like a D&D kind of like
Yeah.
info page where if you
Okay.
wanted to have this character in your game, all the hit.
yes. Some of the mermaid ones I found like that too
Really?
and stuff. But yeah, it was like
So many crossovers here.
Oh, I forget which one it was, but yeah, it did the same thing where it like gives you its
Stats.
specs basically, and its stats. Yeah, it's like I liked those ones.
And remember, if you're cold, they're cold.
They're cold.
Bring them
inside.
So Machu Picchu calls Lake Superior their home and is a powerful creature in the mythological traditions of some indigenous and North American tribes. This underwater panther, which again I just love that name.
I love it. This does not look anything like I guess maybe a little
No?
bit panther-ish.
It's mostly just like
and the
the
face.
body.
Yeah.
Minus
It's
the
the fact that it
scales
has
and-
4 legs. Like
Yeah. And the head.
We'll let him have it.
Yeah. Listen, if he wants to be a panther, let him be a
Let him be a
panther.
panther.
Yeah. It just it's because like cats don't usually like water, so it could be
Oh,
He's just breaking
True.
stereotypes.
well, I mean, but
Exactly.
panthers do.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
Panthers
this
do.
all makes sense. So this underwater panther was the most powerful underworld being to the Algonquins, and the Ojibwe traditionally held them to be masters of all water creatures, including snakes. So those were snakes.
Ooh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Had to be
Lindsay
snakes.
was on it.
I mean, I do get a lot of children's artwork now, so I'm
You're
very
like,
good at
that's a
interpreting.
snake.
Yes. And
That's so
basically,
funny.
yeah.
She is an
I'm
art
the art dealer in
connoisseur
our
for
house,
children.
So yeah.
And I'm sure that this is not unique to us, but I'm not around little kids often because my other friend that has kids lives, over an hour away, and Lindsay takes the cake, being extra far. And my other friend Julia is in Italy, so not a lot of little kids around. And until they are, 4.5, 5-ish, I'm like, oh, I think I know what you're saying. But the parents or those that are close will pick up on their special verbiage, and then they're like, oh, they're saying, yeah,
Yeah.
Christmas tree, whatever.
I'm
So I
going
feel
to be
like it's the same
translating a
with-
lot
with art. Yeah.
this week when we have our holiday thing. Is that as a time
they
of
said
recording?
they said more cookies right now, bitch. Sorry.
And some
I
for
know-
mom too.
Mom.
Yeah,
She's
thank
just
you.
super rude. I'm working on it.
Well, if I get artwork and I'm not sure what it is, I'm always like, "Oh, tell me about your art."
Oh, so smart.
So then
smart.
they
and
can,
that way they get to talk to you about it. You're like, oh, I see.
right,
That's
but I'm
a
not
snake.
questioning it. They get to explain it from their point of view from the get go.
Well, and then if you
And tell you the
question it,
story.
As
then they
art
get
should be,
really
let
pissed
the-
off
let the
because they're like,
artist-
how do you not know what this is?
Let the artist tell you more about their work.
And maybe it's like a metaphor, anyway.
it's avant-garde.
So another name
Yes.
for the fabulous night panther. Oh, I fucked up. Another name for them is the fabulous night panther. It's all about the emphasis. Fabulous night panther of the syllables. So they are said to live in the deepest parts of lakes and rivers, not just Lake Superior, but it's kind of where they're hanging out the most times. And this is where they cause storms. So it's these guys that are to blame. Of
So
course,
they only come
350
around
plus.
November and December and just really fuck shit up. Got it.
Because they're bored and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it for the plot and just do
Yeah.
cool stuff and
I'm gonna do it for the plot.
kill all these people. Now this is kind of interesting. They're also known for guarding vast amounts of copper in Lake Superior and the Great Lakes region. So the copper deposits, that is real. And way back when Europeans were like, hey, let's go fuck up this continent for no reason. Just kidding, it's for natural resources. They had
they
sent
had
out-
reasons.
Yeah, sorry. They're like, let me just go check to see if you have like stuff that I want to steal.
Yeah.
And they were finding out that there was, of course, rich in minerals. And there was this one gentleman. His name was Claude Dablon, I'm assuming. He was a Christian missionary. Ocean missionaries. Christian. Okay, it's all going downhill. Christian missionary from Dieppe, France. Now, we all know about Dieppe. I actually did not realize it was also placed in France, which completely makes sense because New Brunswick.
Yeah, half the things in North America are named after things.
I
Somewhere
would say
else.
way more than half. I'm like, I remember.
You're probably right.
Or
I
it's
found-
just new, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's
over
right.
there.
Isn't there like a Paris, Texas or something like that?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
obviously
pretty sure there
here
is.
there's London, there's
Yeah.
Paris, which are not.
I
at
see
all
London,
alike.
I see France. I see-
Right. And there's Halifax in England. Just
Well,
like there is-
which is the original, and also there's a Halifax in Grenada. Grenada? Grenada.
I am at
Oh,
Camp
Camp
Granada.
Grenada.
Yeah, Granada.
Grenada.
Yeah.
For instance. Okay. So this is the story that Claude told, I guess, when he got back to France. In 1668, he was traveling in the Lake Superior area on behalf of France, which I said 8 times now, so hopefully you are following along. He told a story about 4 Ojibwe people who embarked on a journey to the home of Mishu Pishu to take some copper back to their home, and they were going to use that to heat water because, copper is a great conductor of heat. The very second they pushed off and backed into the water with their canoe, the eerie voice of the water panther surrounded them. The water panther came growling after them, vigorously accusing them of stealing the playthings of his children. So I guess he speaks English, or no,
okay.
he would speak the native language of the Ojibwe.
Yeah.
All 4 people died on their way back to the village, with the very last one surviving. This is so classic. Just long enough to tell the tale of what happened in his final moments before he died. So
got
that
it.
is giving like old wives' tale, but I still think it's very interesting.
But we can believe that is true.
And so cute.
They
that,
come from somewhere.
We don't know what's
well,
not
of
true.
course. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Duh. Old wives'
But
tale.
just think about a bunch of like baby Mishu Pishu like playing with copper, like
Yeah.
tee hee
Well,
hee.
maybe that's how they
This
keep
is-
warm in the cold, frigid water.
So, but I mean, they don't breathe fire,
could
so the
be.
copper on its own does nothing.
I don't know.
You know what? We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the next podcast. So our last story. This is what I thought this whole episode would be, and it turns out it was just a small piece.
Ugh.
I was perusing the internet, and a Reddit story popped up, and I thought that sounded really, really interesting. So I'm going to read that. So the title of this segment is Ghostly Radio Signals. So this was posted about 1 year ago. I love how it doesn't tell you when, it just says 1 year ago. I'm like, from the day? Like, what do you mean? So I don't know exactly when.
It means that it was probably somewhere in 2023 is typically what that means.
Yeah, because a lot of this guy's posts were from that time. So a year ago, there is a ghost story subreddit, and the story was posted there by user American Idiot TV.
Love his name.
So good.
Love.
He titled it, I'm assuming I'm just putting that on them. I'll also assume it's a him, just based on the way he typed. It's titled A Nautical Ghost Story from My Sailor Uncle. So the next photo is a ship called the Arthur M. Anderson.
Which we discussed in our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the next photo was
Edmund Fitzgerald.
Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yes, because this is about the Edmund Fitzgerald a little bit. But this is from a listener, so I thought it was super cool. Also, it's kind of nice seeing the M. Arthur Anderson loaded up with that famous iron ore we've been talking about.
I didn't show any pictures of it either in my last episode, so now we have a picture of it.
But this, and I don't know, it's just like loose. For anyone that's looking on
It's just
YouTube.
like the Edmund Fitzgerald. It has this big, like, open... Actually, I think it's just at the dock, right? So it's loading stuff onto the ship.
It is at the docks. You can see. So, but it looks like sand, and it's like just loose.
Yeah,
like
it
there's no
does, yeah.
walls. Isn't that weird? I imagine that you're
Yeah.
going over
Yeah.
big waves, and
I mean, I don't think it's going on the ship.
Don't they
loose
normally put like
that?
tarps over top of it like they do with like the sand, the
Maybe-
salt?
maybe
Yeah,
they're
like
doing
this,
that.
This
'cause-
mound isn't on the ship. It looks like it is, but it's
Are you sure?
not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not on the ship. It's
Forced
next to the on the
perspective?
dock. I think so. I think it's
She might be right.
on the dock.
Okay.
Because look at that back mound. You would be like,
Well,
And the crane is
the back
tilted
mount
over
definitely
it
isn't.
off onto the dock.
yeah. Yeah,
Questions.
she's right.
But I
Well,
understand
listen.
why it looks like it is on it.
It does. Well, especially the first big
Optical
hill.
illusions.
Forced perspective.
But yeah, there's no way to have a mound like that and then
Okay, because I
traveling
thought that was
in the
crazy,
waves.
and I was right for thinking that.
Okay.
So
But where
let
did they
me-
put that?
We still have lots of questions, clearly. Okay, so let me tell.
Boatologist, get at us.
cargo ship boatologist only.
I like John Tell's more simplified boatologist. Because, like, clearly
What-
we said that we
What
said
is
the
the,
boats.
the proper term for a boatologist? And I'm curious.
I don't know. We didn't figure out lakeologist yet either. So we just got both of these.
We know that's not a marine biologist. so
Limnologist is someone who studies freshwater systems such as lakes and rivers and streams.
What are they called?
Limnologists. See,
Okay, you know what?
lakeologist makes more
Lakeologist
sense.
is easier.
Right.
Just saying.
Limnology is the field of
That
study.
sounds more like biological of like a human. Limnology. Oh, your limbs are
Your
so
limbs
swollen.
are. I study limbs only of the body.
There's always a name for these things, though.
Oh.
Okay.
Again, just thank you
I
for
like to
sticking
live
with us.
in
I'm
just
so
bliss.
sorry.
we can go with nautical scientist for someone studying boats. I
Oh,
guess.
okay. That
Nautical
would also
scientist?
make sense.
That sounds
Right.
pretty cool.
Or naval
put that on a card.
architecture.
Oh, that sounds really cool. But see, that's not as fun as boatologist, though. Anyway.
No.
Okay, let me tell this poor guy's story.
Right.
Well, really, it's his uncle's, but he's just,
Get it through
So-
him. Yeah.
My uncle used to work aboard the Great Lakes on a freighter called the SSM Anderson. Arthur M. Anderson. Yep. And they would haul iron ore and limestone across the Great Lakes. And clearly, we've talked about iron ore 1,000 times. This is not weird. This is totally normal. Maybe this photo, it looks like it's all loose, but that may not be the case. As
Oh,
we've decided.
loosey-goosey.
Just toss it anywhere. Whatever. It's fine. It's like when you're driving down the highway and someone has a mattress like on their car. It's like just one bungee cord holding on for dear life. I'm like, that can't be right.
This isn't how you do this, I'm sure.
So one day around 7 p.m. in November 2007, so like recent, in terms of a ghost story recent,
2007,
they were crossing Lake Superior and Britney Spears was like, Britney, bitch. Dun, 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 dun. They were crossing Lake
No,
Superior.
I think that's when her downfall started to happen, actually. So
That's still a great song.
Yeah.
They were heading to Cleveland, Ohio, which I think I've driven through, and it seemed fun. FYI, in case you're wondering. At this time, they started to receive distress calls on the radio from an unknown vessel claiming to be the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. So, first of all, I'd be like, that's a bad joke. So I put it a little
Which
note.
we know at this point sunk 30 years
2007.
prior.
So just to remind listeners,
32
if you
years.
didn't listen to last week's episodes, Lindsay literally just covered this whole case from start to finish. So the Edmund Fitzgerald has long since been sunk at the bottom of this lake. Okay, so just in case you weren't
And
familiar.
the Arthur M. Anderson was the ship accompanying the Fitzgerald along its journey. So it was the last ship to have contact with the...
And I do
Edmund
mention a little bit, but they are actually sister ships too. So they were built like they're essentially identical. So I find that kind of
That
interesting.
makes sense.
Sister ships, yeah, because ships are girls. That's right.
Yep, that's right.
we know that.
So the next photo was one like that's similar to Lindsay had shared. It's just Edmund Fitzgerald going through rough times because obviously it did not make it. So the SS Edmund Fitzgerald famously sunk in 1975, taking all 29 crewmen with it, which we already know. My uncle said that at first they thought it was some kind of distasteful prank until they checked their radar and they found that there were no other ships around for at least 70 nautical miles, and the range on the radios were only 60 miles. So this is important to know because it means that there was no ship pranking them. If that's in fact what they thought it was. So there's no one even in radio distance to make such a terrible radio call. So at that point, I'd be like freaked out.
Yeah, a little bit.
And keep in mind that it's November in Canada at 7 p.m. So it is dark. It is midnight.
It's
dark.
cold.
Which
It's
that,
dark.
To me, it's just scary. If it was like, 2 p.m., I'd be like, whatever, nothing.
There's not any lights. You're in the middle of Lake Superior.
Why are you
Like,
even on Lake Superior in November, period?
like
that
have you
work
learned
night?
nothing?
Literally from the Edmund Fitzgerald, did you learn nothing?
And that was
Yeah.
one of the more recent ones because like
Yeah.
ships have been crashing there for hundreds of years. So he said the voice that they heard on the radio described a heavy storm, high winds, and they were having a hard time holding their own. My uncle said you could hear true fear in this man's voice from over the radio. But the thing was, there was no storm at all. In fact, I'm getting chills. Current time, the water was calm and the night was clear.
And his last words
Jesus.
were, "We're holding our own."
I'm getting chills.
Oh my
I know, I'm
God.
getting chills too.
You're on the sister ship, and although it's November, which as we know, treacherous, your present time, waters are calm, night is clear, you can see the stars, see the moon, and yet the radio, it's almost like when you turn to a channel that has like a disaster scene, it's not representative of what's currently happening in your world, but in this person's world, it was like the night that they sunk. At around 8 p.m., my uncle described, the distress call on the radio came to an abrupt stop, leaving the whole room in a terrifying silence, and the radio stayed quiet for the rest of the night. However, nobody was able to sleep that night. They were haunted by what they heard. When it
That is
comes down
terrifying.
to it, there is a sense of irony in this event. We've already kind of discussed this already, but the SS Arthur M. Anderson was the sister ship to the Edmund Fitzgerald, and it was also the last ship to make contact with the Edmund Fitzgerald when it sunk in 1975.
Jesus. And it's weird because I remember, I think it was 7:20 to be exact, when they didn't hear from the Edmund Fitzgerald again. So if it was by 8 o'clock that they didn't hear anything again, maybe the times almost match up.
Well, pretty close, like within 40 minutes. And also that could just be,
Damn.
people getting the times wrong a little bit on
Right.
both
That's what I mean.
sides.
Like maybe it would be around the time.
So he ends his paragraph with saying, could my uncle and his shipmates have actually made contact with the ghost of the crew of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Or is there another explanation to this event? We'll never know, but it made for one of the creepiest stories I've ever heard.
It's definitely
Wow.
ghosts.
Right? Damn.
That is
I mean, like, 'cause
so,
it should be someone on the radar otherwise, right? Like,
someone
Well,
in the
yeah.
vicinity.
and
in
that
the-
would
in
and
the-
that would make more sense. You're like, oh, it's
unless
some,
it was
some
like
shitty
one of
kids,
their
like,
own, someone on the ship, on the ship.
the
itself
call was
was
coming from
pranking
within the
them.
house.
have you checked the children?
But you know, I'm like someone to be
Damn.
pranking
Yeah.
within the ship.
Mhm.
What a prank,
kinda
man.
mean.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
that reminds me of, when like someone's missing, like a child, for instance, and they get fake calls like, oh,
Ugh,
I saw where they
it's
went, and they're
disgusting.
just wasting the time of everyone involved. Oh my God.
Because
So
they want to
that's not
center
related.
themselves.
So those are my little like micro dives into some
loved
of the
it.
creepy things on Lake Superior.
Yeah, that was really cool. Especially like the
Right?
last story. That was really
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's kind of neat that, there's tons and tons of stories, but I'm sure Chantel, you saw this too. A lot of them are very just like, there's not a lot of information.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that I expanded on 2 stories that we've already covered, just with a bit more.
that was
info.
very smart.
Well, that's why
But
I had to
also
do that
so
with the New Brunswick one too, right? Because
Yeah.
there's not like a whole lot. Are there any other are there any new lore of the whole water panthers or anything like that?
Not-
Is there?
Not that I saw, and I even tried to look up like a sightings or if people spotted them. It really just seems like it's more mythology, and maybe it just depends. Like certain myths get picked up and some don't, because
Yeah.
it's not related to water at all. But like skinwalkers, I find incredibly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Canada has oceans, therefore water related. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now those are, I would say, fairly well known if you're into, the paranormal, supernatural. You probably have heard about a skinwalker, and it can be described a few ways. But essentially, it's kind of like a werewolf, but the idea is that it used to be a person who then ate human flesh, and now they're cursed to walk this gangly, mangy wolf form, but they're super tall, super scary, and they can mimic voices of not only yourself but your loved ones to trick you
Yeah.
into coming
Oh.
out. So anyway,
So what's the relation? Sorry, the relation between Skinwalker and this?
just saying that there's many like mythological creatures of different
Oh, yeah.
indigenous groups,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
just get a lot of attention and others
Yes.
don't.
Yes. I find that weird that this wouldn't have, considering all
It
the
seems
stuff
freaking
behind
cool.
Lake Superior and people love the Loch Ness. Why would this not be another thing that would be picked up? But
And no offense to Loch Ness, but they look kind of like a normal dinosaur. This thing looks freaking cool.
yeah, this does look cool.
Like a really scary Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not one you want to catch. Well, yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Megan.
That
Thank you
was
for wrapping up our
yes.
Great Lakes mini-series.
The arc. Yeah, we've kind of wrapped up this lake for
Lake
now.
Superior
For now, we're
miniseries.
gonna be
We're
back. We're gonna come back for sure.
Yeah. Not in November, but actually maybe we should
Never
do
in
it
November. My God. But yeah, we definitely have lots of fun things planned for the next few weeks and months. So keep on coming back every Wednesday.
Yes,
And
definitely.
if this really chilled you to your bone and you're feeling cold,
I'm feeling cold right now. Maybe it actually is cold out.
well, it gave me chills.
It
But
is cold here.
I know the perfect thing to warm you up, and that's to donate to us on coffee.
Yes. Get us a
Just
coffee
so we
that
can
we
buy
warm up.
coffee.
You know what? We haven't spent any of that money yet because we're gonna use it to kind of pay off some of the services we're using to make the website and
Did someone else donate?
Magenta Monsoon
Oh.
did recently.
Your mom
Oh.
gave.
We talked about Magenta Monsoon.
Oh yeah,
Right.
my mom again. I told her to stop
Yeah.
doing that, but
Thank
she said
you.
you can't stop me.
Love
But
it.
you can give us no money. You can follow us for free. You can give us a recurring monthly payment of $3, $5, whatever you want. A couple real winners are giving us 25, which is insane. But thank you. Or even just follow us. listen, tell your friends about the show.
We appreciate any help at all, basically, is what we're
Anything.
saying. Anything is great right now.
And we're
spreading the word, spreading the
79%
love, spreading the everything.
of the way to our $500 goal.
I know.
Which
I'm
is
pretty
awesome.
excited to just pay us back.
So just keep coming back and keep showing us pod love. We really appreciate it. And we are so small that we see everything. Like things
Yes,
don't
we
get
do.
lost in DMs. We read it all. We
No.
see it all.
Megan's on top of it.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah.
And
Anyways,
and that's it. So we're gonna
Yeah.
say goodbye
Yes.
and Happy New Year again ×3 because I forgot what day it was. And
Right.
we'll see
and
you
what
next
previous
week.
stories were, but yeah.
I forgot what year it
Okay.
was. That we already covered half this shit, but this was
Okay.
real life, okay? This is real life. We're
Exactly.
just
There you go.
we're showing you everything. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.